Okay, we're rolling. Hopefully it keeps going. Yeah, I'm rolling. Okay, so this is Math 1050. I'm down to about 30, how many minutes? 36. Okay, I can make it. We're down to about 35 minutes. I need to teach this lesson to you. One thing I didn't talk to you about with this workbook is you'll notice it says section 1.6 at the top of page 1. Then if you flip it to page 2, that's just a continuation of the notes. Page 3, halfway down is a continuation. And then halfway down page 3, it says assignment 1. So that page 138 comes from the textbook that you just put in your back. Those are the problems that you do. The odd answers are in the back of your textbook, and you're crazy if you don't check. So do a problem, see if you got it right, do it, check it, so you know if you know what you're doing. Make sure that you follow that formatting on your homework. Okay? Questions? Okay, here we go. If I write it, you write it. Okay? Preparing for your quizzes and tests, you're going to review over your workbook, and if you don't take good notes, then you can't review. Okay? Okay, absolute value. Here we go. So, the definition of absolute value is, sorry, I'm still trying to get the hang of this. The definition of absolute value is how far a number is away from 0 on the number line. One of the biggest complaints that I get about my teaching is that I go too fast, okay? It's going to take you about 2 weeks to get used to my pace, and then after 2 weeks you're going to be like, oh, this is fine. But for a couple of weeks you're going to be like, oh my gosh, this is so fast. We have so much to go through. So I'll try to be aware of that. I'll try to make a conscious decision to slow down. You guys need to understand we have a lot of stuff to cover. Okay, so look at this right here. The absolute value of x equals 3. They're asking you where on the number line is the distance from 0 exactly 3 units. Okay, so I want you to do this. Put a 0 in the center. Put a 3 on the right. Put a -3 on the left. So between -3 and 0 is 3 units. Between 0 and 3 is 3 units. So which numbers are exactly 3 units away from 0 on the number line? That's 3 and -3. So we would just say x equals 3, -3. That's acceptable. Another acceptable way would be x equals plus or minus 3, also acceptable. Another one is x equals 3, or -3. They all mean the same thing. They're all completely acceptable. Another way I like to say it is, if I did this, you guys look. If I scribbled out that x, what numbers could I put in there to make it true? Well, you guys would tell me 3 or -3, right? That's why it's like that. Okay? Questions about any of that? All right, here we go. Example 1. I'm going to give you some steps. I like to give steps. When I give steps, I like to make the steps very easy and very simple. Okay? Step number 1, I don't know where I'm going to squeeze this in. Step number 1, okay? Get absolute value alone. Always get it alone. Okay? Step number 2, split. Step number 3, solve. So get it alone, split it, solve it. Okay? Everybody look at question A. You guys, when I teach, what I want from you, I know this is weird, I want you to shout out the answer. So if you sit here the whole period and you don't speak, you're not doing what I want you to do. I want you to be engaged. I need to know that you understand. So you're answering my questions as I shoot them to you, okay? Okay, everybody look at question A. Is my absolute value alone? Everybody tell me yes or no. Yes, it is. Okay, now everybody look at this. Don't go ahead of me, by the way. Stick with me. If I scribbled out that x minus 3, what number, don't talk to me about x, don't talk to me about 3. What number could I put inside of that absolute value to make the statement true? Tell me. 4 or negative 4, right? So that's how you think about it. So if you look at this, then our next step, everybody go x minus 3 equals 4, or x minus 3 equals negative 4. Now, when you move this 3 over, okay, for just this step right here, everybody do this. Everybody go plus 3, and then a line, and then go x equals 7. I don't need to see that, the plus 3, and I don't really want to see that. If you have to, then that's fine, but it's better if we don't, okay? So x equals 7, look at this one over here, x equals, the 3 would come over and become a positive, a negative 4 and a positive 3 is a negative 1. So your answer is x equals 7, x equals negative 1, highlight it, and you're done. The purpose of the highlighter is to find your answer very quickly. It helps me and it helps you, okay? Who says, I'm good? Let me see how you're feeling. Up high. Good? Okay. Question B, every single one of you are talking to me. There's like 38 people in this room. Step 1, is my absolute value alone, yes or no? No. No. So tell me what to do. Shout it out. Get rid of the 2, right? So now we have the absolute value of 2x minus 3 is 7 subtract 2, which is 5. Okay? Look right there. On step 1, I want you to add this. I know this is going to be squishy on mine. I want you to put don't drop absolute value. That's on step 1. You know what people do? Look what they write. They write 2x minus 3 equals 5. They drop those. You don't drop them until step 2. Okay? Okay, so let's go back. Everybody tell me, is my absolute value now alone? Yes or no? Yes. Yes. So now we split it into 2. So I could have a 5 or a negative 5 in there. So everybody go 2x minus 3 equals 5, or 2x minus 3 equals negative 5. When you do your homework, you're expected to show all this work, okay? Or you won't get credit. 3 comes over and becomes a positive. So you have 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, and you get x equals 4. If I can't read your writing, you're not going to get credit for what you're doing, okay? Okay, do the next one. Put an or. 2x equals, 3 comes over and becomes a positive. A negative 5 and a positive 3 would give me a negative 2. I can put an or, I can put a comma, divide by 2, and I get x equals negative 1. Highlight it, and I'm done. That's it. Okay, who says good? Show me how you feel. Raise your hand if you feel good. Yay. Okay, make sure you answer me, okay? When I ask you how you're doing, it's a way for me to touch base, because I have to do my part in order for you to be successful, okay? So when I ask you who understands, I'm sorry? Avery Goodfellow? Sure. I think maybe to the office. Please don't do this. Please do this so I know, okay? I'm going to try again. Who's okay? Raise your hand. Let me show you how you feel. Okay, yay, or show me how you feel. Okay, question C. Step 1. Is my absolute value alone? Everybody tell me yes or no. Yes. Yes, it is. Okay. What could go in there to make it true? Don't go ahead of me, okay? What could go in there to make it true? 0. How about negative 0? No such thing, right? What could I put in there to make it true? Just a 0. So when I split this thing, it's actually just going into one thing, okay? So everybody go x squared minus 25 equals 0. There's a couple of ways you can do this. I personally prefer to move my 25 over. So x squared equals 25, and then you square root it, and the answer is x equals 5. Sometimes I make mistakes on purpose, and I expect you to correct me in a very kind way, and I'll always be kind to you. I made a mistake, and I made the mistake on purpose because it's a common error. Can somebody tell me what I did wrong? Go ahead, bud.
You can also have x equals negative 5.
Yeah, when you square root that, if you do the square root, it's plus or minus. So this is actually 2 answers plus or minus 5, and that's it. Okay, do this. Draw a line right there. Can anyone think of a different way? Look, x squared minus 25 equals 0. Can someone talk to me about another way? Don't be afraid in this class. We're going to get to know each other so well, nobody's ever going to make fun of you, because I will make that stop very quickly. What can you do, sweetheart? You can factor it. Do this with me. Everybody go x plus 5 times x minus 5. Now look at that line. This line is like a sentence. And it's an incomplete sentence right now because what did I forget to put? Tell me. Equals 0. Thank you. If I said x plus 5 equal to 0, I get x equals negative 5. If I said x minus 5 equal to 0, I get a positive 5. I got the same answer. Doesn't matter how you do it. You only have to do it one way. Just show me what you're doing so I can follow you. Okay? Okay, step D. Question D, I mean. Is my absolute value alone, yes or no? Yes, it is. So now I go to step 2, which is to split it apart. So I'm going to go 2x plus 1 over 3x plus 4 is equal to 1, or 2x plus 1 over 3x plus 4 is equal to negative 1. You know what I want you to do? I want you to cross multiply. Write that down. Cross multiply. You're going to do it again and again and again and again in this class, and it's the easiest way to do it. So put a 1 right there underneath it. You don't always have to put a 1. I'm just trying to show you. Then you look across. What's across from the 3x plus 4? A 1. So 1 times 3x plus 4 is 3x plus 4. Cross multiply the other way. 2x plus 1 times 1 is 2x plus 1, like that. Should I move my 4 to my 1 right now, or should I get my x's together first? Somebody tell me. X's. Yeah, you can get in trouble if you don't do that. So take this 2x, bring it over to that guy, becomes a negative. So 3x minus 2x is 1x plus 4 equals 1. Just give me a verbal. Are you guys okay, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, great. Move your 4 over, right? Becomes a negative. X equals negative 3. You're done with that one. Okay, now I want you to put an or right there. Make it a fraction. Cross multiply. Talk to me about this. Is this negative on the top, or is it on the bottom, or is it on the top and the bottom? Somebody talk to me about that. It's either top or bottom, not both. Whichever one you choose, I will always, always, always put it, guess where? The cleanest, easiest place to put it. What do you think? The top. Yeah, for sure, always put it at the top. Okay, so 3x plus 4 times a negative 1, change those signs. So that's a negative 3x minus 4. Cross multiply the other way. 2x plus 1 times 1 is 2x plus 1. Get your x's together before the numbers. So this 2x comes over and becomes a negative. So I have negative 5x equals, I'm going to do 2 steps in one. Is that okay? Took the x over, now I'm going to take the 4 over. So the 4 comes over and becomes a positive. 4 plus 1 is 5. Then I divide, and I get x equals negative 1, and I'm done, and everything's good. Raise your hand if you feel great. Who feels like, yay, I feel good? Okay, good. Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this concept is a lot of people struggle with this. Tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons. So I'm changing how I'm teaching this to you. I'm changing it. Okay? So we'll see how this goes. I showed one of my students last year. I said, this is what I'm going to do. And she's like, oh my gosh, I think that would be actually really good. Okay, so look right here. One option is that you have a less than. Okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to go, sorry about that, I want you to write down x equals 3. So get your absolute value alone and then turn it into an equal sign. Okay? So then what I want you to do is I want you to come over here to a 0, and I want you to come to a 3, and I want you to come to a negative 3. Okay, you guys look at this symbolism. See that less than? Everybody get a yellow highlighter, by the way. We highlight a ton. So if you don't have one, get one, okay? So if this is a less than, or if it's a greater than, then your circle's going to be opened. If you have a less than equal to or a greater than equal to, then your circle's going to be closed. Well, we have no equal sign, so it's going to be opened. Okay? And now you're going to test it. Where are the numbers less than 3? The absolute value of the number less than 3. Okay? Think about it like this. Where on the number line is the distance from 0 smaller than 3? If I'm out here, like if I'm at a 4, what's that distance? 4. Is that smaller than 3? No. So it's not going to be out here. It's going to be right inside of there. So you're just going to take your highlighter and highlight the section. Okay? A 4, the absolute value of 4 is 4. Is that less than 3? No. The absolute value of negative 4 is a 4. Is that less than 3? No. So you just have to test your regions. Okay? Okay, let's do this one. So I want you to write x equals 3. Then I want you to put a 0 and a 3 and a negative 3. Once again, my circles are going to be open because I don't have equal signs. Now let's test a 0. Just think about it. What's the absolute value of 0? 0. Is 0 bigger than 3? No. So the middle's false. So you can test these other regions. If you tested a negative 4, absolute value of negative 4 is a 4, which is bigger than 0. Test a positive 4, absolute value of positive 4 is a 4, which is bigger than 0. So you test the true regions. Who says gotcha? Let me see up high. Okay. Now, this is going to be different. Here we go. Step number 1. Let me check something really quick. These are actually reversed. Look at this. Switch those two. So isolate it first. Okay, so go to question A. Everybody in the room talk to me. Is my absolute value alone, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, it is. So I want you to write the absolute value of 2x minus 5 equals 3. All I did is change the inequality into an equal sign. Now we're back to the last kind of problems. What do I do after I have it alone? Tell me the next step, everybody.
Now split it.
Split it into 2, right? So everybody go 2x minus 5 equals 3, or 2x minus 5 equals negative 3. Move your 5 over. 2x equals 8. Divide by 2, x equals 4. Come over here. Bring your 5 over. 2x equals 2. Divide by 2, and you have x equals 1. These are called critical numbers. You don't necessarily need to know that at that moment. I'm just telling you those are your critical numbers. We're going to talk about critical numbers a lot. Okay, draw a number line. Put a 1 and put a 4 on your number line. Do you already have a number line? Yeah, you can use the one that's given if you want. It's kind of squishy, whatever you want. Now, everybody in the room, talk to me. Are my circles going to be opened or are they going to be closed? Talk to me. They're going to be closed because look at that original, right? So come back over here and make your circles closed. Okay, now what you have to do is you have to test. So if I chose a number over here, like maybe a 0, okay, if I plugged a 0 in to here, okay, 2 times 0 is a 0. 0 minus 5 is a negative 5. The absolute value of negative 5 is a 5. Is 5, so I get a 5 right there, is 5 bigger than 3? Everybody tell me.
Yes.
Yes. So that's going to be a true region, so I'm going to shade it. Okay? Most of the time, it goes shade, not shade, shade, not shade. Okay? So, test a 2. 2 times 2 is 2, or pardon me, 2 times 2 is 4, minus 5 is a negative 1, absolute value of negative 1 is a 1, is 1 bigger than 3? No. Test of 5. 2 times 5 is 10, 10 minus 5 is 5, absolute value of 5 is 5, is 5 bigger than 3? Yes. Okay? Almost every single time it's going to go shade, not shade, shade, not shade, it'll alternate. Okay? Now we have to write our answer They didn't say, oh, they're saying set and interval. I'm just going to push mine right here. Okay, here's how you do set notation. Set is tougher than interval, I think. Here's what you do. You make a brace. How far to the left does that shading go? Somebody tell me. Forever, right? So that would be, actually, you know what? Let's do this. Let's do interval first. Just skip to interval. So interval is going to be negative infinity to 1. And do I close the one with a parenthesis, you guys, or with a bracket? Why a bracket? Because it includes it. Come back up here really fast. See this open, then open, close? Right here, I want you to go parenthesis, saying if you don't have an equal sign, close with a parenthesis. If you do have an equal sign, close with a bracket. Okay, so back over here, we do have an equal sign, so it's going to be a bracket. Then what I want you to do is I want you to make a U. This is not the letter U like the alphabet. There is no tail on my U. It's just a U like this with no tail. Does anybody know what that U stands for? It means or. Okay, then pick it back up at a 4 with a bracket, and then it goes, how far does it go on the right, everybody? Forever, infinity. Okay, set notation, you do not put interval inside of set. It has to be inequality, or it has to be like x cannot be something. Okay, so inequality is 1 and smaller. So I would say x is less than or equal to 1. Oops, sorry, I forgot something. You can just erase that brace maybe. Erase that brace and just move it over to the left a little bit. We have to do some symbolism, sorry. Put an X, and then what you do is you put a vertical line right after that. That vertical line means such that. So it means X such that X is less than or equal to 1, or X is, talk to me everybody, greater than or equal to 4, and you're done. Okay, we'll do it again, so don't worry. So that's set and that's interval. I do interval 95% of the time because it's the easiest and they don't usually specify how to write it. Okay, let's do the next one. Question B, everybody in the room talk to me. Is my absolute value alone? No, what's the first thing I should do? Move your 5. Good. So you have 2 times the absolute value of x minus 7 is less than. Notice it's not an equal sign yet. 5 comes over, becomes a negative, and you have an 8. Is step 1 done yet? Am I alone? No. What do I do? Divide by 2. So now you have x minus 7 is less than 4. Am I alone now? Yes. So I'm going to write it as an equal sign. The absolute value of x minus 7 equals 4. So isolate it, switch it to an equal sign. Don't look at the steps. Tell me what we do now.
Now you split.
Split. Yeah. So you have x minus 7 equals 4, or x minus 7 equals negative 4. Move your 7 over. You get x equals 11. Or move your 7 over, x equals 3. Don't look at the other problem. What are those called? Critical numbers. Yes. So draw your number line. I'm not picky about the number line at all. Just put the smaller one on the left. That would be a 3. Bigger number on the right. That would be 11. Open circles or closed, everybody?
Open.
Open. Okay. Now, you know where we're going to test? We're going to test from the isolation. We're going to test from right there is where I'm going to test. That's going to be way, way, way easier than testing from the original. So if I put in a 0, I always test 0 if I can. So over here is a 0. If I put in a 0, 0 minus 7 is a negative 7. The absolute value of negative 7 is a 7. Is 7 smaller than 4? No. So this is a false region, so it's going to be false, true, false. You guys can test them. You know how to do it. Okay? Now let's write our answer in interval form. Interval is the parenthesis bracket business. Okay? So it starts at a 3. Everybody in the room tell me how to close my 3. With a parenthesis, right? And it ends at 11. Here's a nice little trick. I shaded one region, so I have one interval. On part A, I shaded 2 regions, so I have 2 intervals. It's always going to be that way, okay? Okay, here's set. So you're going to make your brace. You're going to do x such that. And if it's between two numbers, look how easy, guys. You just go 3, point it to the left, put an x, point it to the left, 11, close it off. That means between 3 and 11. Should I add equal signs on those inequalities? Talk to me. No. Okay. Question C. Everybody tell me, is it alone? Yes or no?
No.
It's not alone, right? We need to get it there. So keep it in inequality and move your 7. So the absolute value of 2 minus 3x is greater than or equal to 5. Everybody in the room, is it alone now? Yes. What's the next step? Talk to me.
No, make it equal.
Make it an equal sign. Yes. So should I drop the absolute value?
No.
No. So it's 2 minus 3x equals 5. Guys, listen. Stop for just a sec. I feel like some of you might be 2 steps ahead of me, and I'm asking you, what's next, what's next, what's next? And I have like 4 people talking to me. So talk to me, because the questions I ask you, you're going to ask yourself as you do these, so you get them right. Okay, next step. Tell me. You can tell me in one word. Split, right? So you go 2 minus 3x equals 5, or 2 minus 3x equals negative 5. Now solve those. So you have negative 3x equals, the 2 comes over and becomes a negative, and you have a 3. Divide, x equals negative 1. Or if I make a mistake, make sure you catch me. Negative 3x equals, 2 comes over and becomes a negative, negative 7. Divide, and you get 7 over 3. What are those called again? Critical numbers, right? So draw that number line, the negative on the left, the 7/3 on the right. I do have an equal sign, so my circles are going to be closed. Should I test this from the original? It would work, but that's really hard. Where should I check from? From the isolation, right? From here. Still going to kind of be a pain. So test a 0. Test the middle. That's what I would do. So 3 times 0 is a 0. 2 minus 0 is a 2. Oops, not there. Sorry, I highlighted the wrong thing. Test from here, the pink right there. So let me do it again. If x is a 0, negative 3 times 0 is a 0. 2 minus 0 is a 2. Absolute value of 2 is a 2. Is 2 bigger than 5? No. So it's going to be false. So it's going to be the outside. Okay? Interval. 2 shadings, 2 intervals. Negative infinity to negative 1, closed with a, talk to me, guys. Bracket. And what comes right after that bracket? There's 38 of you. What comes next? The u with no tail. And then 7/3 to infinity. Don't do this. Look at this. Set x such that, and then put interval inside of set. You cannot do that. You cannot put interval inside of set. What goes inside of set, everybody? What's that called? Inequality. You can do the can't equal to, or you can do the greater than equal to. Okay, here we go. So this would be x is less than or equal to negative 1, or x is greater than or equal to 7/3, close it with a brace. Good? Tell me how many more I have. 2? Oh, we can do this. We got 6 minutes. We can do 2. We can do it. Okay, step 1. Is it alone? Talk to me.
Yes.
Okay, what do I do now? Equal sign, right? So now I have 4x plus 1 over 2 equals 4. I did not drop my absolute value. What do I do now? Split it, right? So it's 4x plus 1 over 2 equals 4, or 4x plus 1 over 2 equals negative 4. I want to hear 2 words out of your mouth. What are the words?
Cross multiply.
Bam. Cross multiply. You guys are awesome. Put a 1 underneath. 4x plus 1 times 1 is 4x plus 1. 4 times 2 is 8. If you went the other way and you have 8 equals 4x plus 1, who cares? It's the same thing. I just anticipated it, so I went the other way. Move the 1 over, you get 4x equals 7. Divide, x is 7/4. Cross multiply the other way. 4x plus 1 equals -8. Move your 1 over. 4x equals -9. Divide, x equals -9/4. Tell me what to do now. Do that number line, right? I'm going to do it right on this one. -9/4 on the left, 7/4 on the right. It is no equal sign, so it's going to be open. I have a little trick for you. You want a trick? Instead of testing, I'm kind of afraid to tell you, this is where my students would mess up. If that's a greater than, do you think where's it going to be far away from 0? Greater than. Where's it going to be really far away? Would that be in the middle or out here? Out here. Far away. Far away is there. When do you do the inside? When it's a less than. Yes. Okay. Okay, so let's do this in interval form. -∞ to -9/4 with a parenthesis. Union 7/4 to infinity with a parenthesis. Lessons won't always be this fast, just so you know. It's a little fast today. Set is x such that x is less than -9/4, 9/4 smaller than 9/4, or x is greater than 7/4. Close it off. What notation will you use most of the time? Which one of those? Interval. Interval is correct. So I'm going to scroll just a little. Can I go? Okay. Okay, question E, step 1. Everybody in the room right now, what's step 1? Get it alone. Is it alone? No. How do I get rid of the 1/3? Multiply by 3 is exactly right. So now I have the absolute value of x plus 2 is less than or equal to 12. Is it alone? Yes. Everybody right now, what do I do now? Equals, right? Do I drop my absolute value? No. Absolute value of x plus 2 equals 12. Tell me what to do now. Split. So x plus 2 equals 12, or x plus 2 equals -12. Move the 2 over, you get x equals 10. Move the 2 over, x equals -14. Tell me what to do. Number line. Very good. Number line. -14 on the left, +10 on the right. I have an equal sign, so it's going to be closed. When I isolated, guys, if you do that little inside-outside trick, you have to look at the isolated one. Okay, you have to look right there. It's a less than. So if you're confused, test. Where would less than go? In or out? Tell me. In. Less than means close, really close, so that's inside. Okay. Okay, so interval, -14 with a bracket to 10 with a bracket. Set is x such that, if it's in the middle, remember you go -14 is less than x is less than 10. You write it in one long inequality. Is that right? That set notation? There's something wrong. Forgot my equal sign. Yes. Okay, you have 4 things you have to do. Listen, I'm giving you so many things. Look, Weber State, either be admitted or register, right? You've got a homework assignment. You've got to get online and accept all the disclosures. You and your parents both have to. And the 4th thing, what's the 4th thing? Come on. That piece of paper, right? Sign, sign, sign. 4 things. Weber, homework, electronic, sign. Okay? You guys are so awesome. Woo! Sorry, 2 seconds. The homework is